Hi, this is Gopal and welcome to the third part of the tutorial of our database using MySQL Server. In this tutorial, I'm going to introduce you to data types that our MySQL Server supports, and mostly all database or DBMS supports. And also we'll look into how to create a table to store data. Okay, so let's begin. We will talk about some common data types here, and which we would stick to, and there are actually lots many more data types, and with versions coming in for we are using here MySQL 5.5, and in the later versions they would release some more data types maybe, but we would stick to some common data types here. The common data types here, as you can see: characters, variable character, integer, decimal, date, and blob. Characters are pretty much letters, alphabets, and symbols, special symbols like asterisk, percentage sign, ampersand, all this. And there is a variable character also. Now, variable characters also store letters, alphabets, symbols, but there is a little difference between character and variable characters. Variable characters are pretty much, you can say, they are dynamic. Dynamic in the sense is that, okay, first of all, let me say you how to define a character in MySQL or a SQL command. So you write char, which stands for char, that is the first four letter here, and give the second braces here, and then you write the number of characters you want to store here. In this case, what will this MySQL do, or the storage engine do? It will, allocate 3 memory locations for the character to be stored. Alright, even before inserting data. But in case of variable character, and this is the way we denote a variable character. This is var, that is here, and char, that is for character, variable character. And even if we give the size over here 4, it takes maximum size to be 4, but you can also store data like John. It will definitely take it 4 characters here, but if you want to say like Joe, it will then allocate only 3 memory locations, and that one extra location would not be allocated, and that is done in the runtime, and that is why it is called a variable character. That means the number of characters are varying here. Alright, now let's go to integer. Integer is definitely, we know that it's simply numbers, but they are whole numbers, not fractions. Okay, and it can be negative, positive. Now comes to decimal. Decimal are fractions, and note here that we denote it by DEC, which stands for decimal, and we give 2 numbers here. What is this? 5 and 2. 5 denotes how many digits will be there in your decimal number, and 2 denotes, that is the second part, denotes how many digits will be there after the decimal point. So if I say 547.32, okay, so here the total number of digits is 5, and the total number of digits after the decimal point is 2. Got it? Okay. Now let's go to date. And because it is made a special data type, date are simply numbers, but it's special because it store date, it can fetch date from our system, and it has a special format which is year, then month, and the day. Alright, very easy. The last part is blob, which is very important. In case of characters, we can store characters, but there is a limit of how many number of characters you can store here. And blob can actually store more than that limit. Alright, it meant for storing larger number of characters. Blob stands for binary, large, and OB stands for object. That is binary large objects. As the name says, it is binary. That means it stores binary information, and that is why it is also useful to store images. So now these are common data types, and we'll stick to this. There are other data types, and we will actually introduce those other data types later on when we proceed. Now let's see how to create a table. Alright, okay, here is it. Yeah, so a database like this. So we have all this database. I've created one. So how to use it? Simply say use and the name of it. Okay, it says database changed. Now to create a table, the command or the format of SQL command is like this. You simply say create table, and you say the name of the table. In our case, say student info. Alright, then you give a bracket here and hit the return key, and then here we list out the columns that would be present in the table. So they are, say, last name, and then we have to say, or you have to define what type of data this last name column will store. So here in our case, we'll store it a variable character, because we know the last name can vary, okay, in number of characters. So say it is 10, number of characters will be 10. Then we have to put a comma so that the SQL command understand that other columns are different, that they can distinguish between columns. Then we say first, not this one, first name variable character, then again, then comma, then we say age, and age is definitely integer, and the format to say integer is this int, and number of digits in the integer would be definitely 2 digits, because I don't expect anyone to be 3 digits. I mean 100 years, god, that would be dangerous. Okay, now date of birth, again, well, you can write it in caps, but it's pretty much confusing, because we know that column names should be they are case sensitive. Okay, so just be avoid those things. And date of birth is simply date, and here you don't have to mention the number of digits, because it already knows, it already has the default format that I shown you. Okay, now the last part would be address, and I will take for address I will take a blob here, and let's see, it is say 50. It's very large, see. And okay, I showed you variable character, I showed you integer, date, blob. Okay, let's take anything for character, say okay, gender, because gender will store either female or a male. So it'll store a single character which stands for F or M. So take a single character which doesn't varies, which would be 1. There you go. And I end my command. I just close the brackets and I say semicolon to end my statement and hit enter key, and it says query OK. Alright, now to see the structure of our table, what we say, describe, and the table name. What is our table name? Student info. There you go. So you have this field here. The fields are last name, first name, age, date of birth, address, gender. Type of it, as you can see, variable characters in date. It is tiny blob. Okay, we said it's a blob. Now you see there's one new data type. Tiny blob stands for, it's like blob is for large objects, alright, but tiny blob is also for objects which are small in their category. Okay, so it's a new data type, as you can see. And there is character, and there is a null thing. I would describe it in the next tutorial, perhaps. I don't have time for it. And there's key, there's default, extra, all these things I will come back in the later tutorials. Okay, so for now this is it for this tutorial, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and if you have any questions please leave it in the comment section. Thank you.